He was a man of few words, his presence almost ghostly in its quietness. Can you imagine that? Dressed in a faded flannel shirt that had weathered too many storms, worn but clean jeans that whispered tales of endurance, and a plain ball cap with no insignia to boast, he slipped into the shooting range like a shadow. His stance? Pure old school, rooted and unshakable. His grouping? Flawless, every shot a silent scream of perfection. The younger guys, all swagger and noise, pegged him as just some retired trucker burning through ammo to kill time. Oh, how wrong they were. Everything changed when a SEAL recruit named Jared caught a fleeting glimpse of the tattoo on his forearm while he reloaded, and froze. Not because it was loud or flashy, no. It was the opposite, subtle, sun-faded, a mark you don't just ink on a whim. You earn it. And when Jared dared to ask, "Where'd you serve, sir?" the whole range fell silent. Not a whisper, not a chuckle, because the answer wasn't some long-winded tale. Just a number, a year, dropped like a stone into still water. Suddenly, no one was laughing anymore. Can you feel the weight of that moment? But wait, before we dive deeper, let me ask you something straight from the heart. Are you ready to join us in spreading gratitude to those unsung heroes who've sacrificed so much without a word? And if you think stories like this, raw, real, and powerful, deserve to live on, hit that subscribe button right now and help us keep them alive. Because what's unfolding here isn't just a story, it's a thunderclap reminder of the quiet legends walking among us, unnoticed until someone dares to look closer. Picture this, the range opens at 7 a.m., but this old man? He's there by 6:45, every single time, like the dawn itself depends on him. He barely speaks, just signs the clipboard with a slow, deliberate scrawl, Martin. No first name, no rank, no small talk, just a nod to the guy behind the counter, as if words are too precious to waste. Then, with steps so quiet you'd swear he's floating, he heads to lane 7, the farthest from the building, far from the Bluetooth speakers and the ego-fueled chatter of the younger crowd. Why lane 7? Why always the same spot? It's like he's carved out a sanctuary there, a place to breathe, to think, to be. His outfit never changes, don't you love that kind of consistency? Faded jeans that have seen more miles than most of us will ever travel, a tan flannel shirt rolled up to his forearms, soft and worn like an old friend, and a brown baseball cap that might have been blue once, its brim curled just enough to shield his sharp, watchful eyes. No patches, no slogans, nothing screaming for attention, just pure, understated grit. His boots? Worn but spotless, each scuff a badge of honor. He carries his range bag low and steady in his right hand, packed light, a single pistol case, a box of .45s, and one battered thermos that sits on his bench like a loyal companion. That's it, no extras, no fuss. Isn't that beautiful in its simplicity? The regulars nicknamed him Pops, or the old guy, chuckling behind his back, thinking he's just some ex-trucker with a pension and too many empty days. They'd tease how he only ever brought one target, one, and always left after 30 rounds, like he's rationing his soul along with his ammo. But the staff? They saw something else, something electric. The way he moved, smooth and precise, like every step was a calculation, the way he scanned the range, not jittery but calm, like he'd faced chaos and learned to tame it. His eyes didn't just see the paper target, they pierced through to the metal behind it, judging wind that wasn't even there. He never flinched, never wasted a shot, never bothered with the brass scattered at his feet. Most of the hotshots didn't notice, too busy flexing, but the ones who knew. They couldn't look away. Could you? That morning, the range buzzed louder than usual, can you hear it? A pack of young Navy recruits rolled in, off-duty and brimming with bravado, their laughter bouncing off the walls like stray rounds. One of them, tall and lean with a crew cut and a trident pin gleaming on his gym bag, set up 2 lanes over from Martin. His name was Jared, a SEAL trainee on leave before heading to Coronado, cocky, sure, but sharp enough to spot the real deal when it's right in front of him. At first, he barely glanced at the old man, just another civilian plinking away, right? But then, oh, then, he heard it, the rhythm. Not the bang, not the kick, but the pattern, 3 shots, reset, 2 shots, reset. Tight. Deliberate. No wasted motion, like a heartbeat you can't ignore. Jared's head turned. Martin's grip was textbook, his stance a fortress. He wasn't just shooting, he was commanding that gun, making it part of him. Who does that? That's when Jared leaned closer, can you feel the tension building, and caught sight of Martin's forearm as he reloaded. There it was, a tattoo, faint and weathered but screaming with meaning. Not a flag, not an anchor, not some trendy skull, just a number, 2 digits, and an insignia that hit Jared like a freight train. He stiffened, blinked, looked again, did he really see that? That wasn't some parlor job, it was a mark from a time when tattoos meant survival, not style. He watched, heart pounding, as Martin's grouping tightened with each shot, every round a bullseye. Finally, he couldn't hold back, would you? He stepped over, voice low with respect, and asked, excuse me, sir. That ink on your arm, that's first recon, isn't it? Martin didn't flinch, didn't grin, just fired one last perfect shot, set the pistol down like it was sacred, and met Jared's gaze. Once, he said, his voice a low rumble. Once. That's all. But oh, Jared knew, that single word carried a lifetime of war and honor. Jared froze, wouldn't you, that once echoing in his chest. It wasn't a brush off, it was a brick wall and an open window all at once, saying, don't push, kid. So he didn't, not yet. He nodded, stepped back, and tried to shoot, but his rhythm was gone, his focus shattered. His eyes kept sliding left, drawn to Martin like a magnet. The old man moved slow, steady, not flashy, not rushed, but every action dripping with memory. Reloading. Pure calm, mag in, slide check, fire, like he'd done it in the dark, under fire, 1,000 times. His shots. Always tight, always perfect, and after each one, he'd pause, why, like he was reliving something only he could see. Jared's buddies didn't get it, too busy laughing, betting on their own sloppy groupings. One of them, Petty, smirked, hey, that old guy's still doing okay, huh? Jared didn't bite, he couldn't. He was locked on Martin, seeing what they missed, this was no amateur. This was the kind of shooter you hush up for, the kind instructors dream of being. 15 minutes later, Martin finished his 30 rounds, not a single miss, and set his pistol down with a soft clink that felt louder than it should. He pulled a faded rag from his bag and started cleaning it right there, unhurried, time bowing to him. Jared couldn't wait anymore. Sir, he said, stepping closer, if you don't mind me asking, when did you serve? Martin paused, did you catch your breath, set the rag down, locked the slide open with a flick, and looked at Jared, calm as stone. 66 to 74, he said. Recon, Southeast Asia. Jared swallowed hard, did that just hit you too? That tattoo wasn't barroom bravado, it was Marine First Recon, deep ops, black radio silence, missions so dark, names didn't come back. You were in Laos, Jared pressed, half asking, half knowing. Martin nodded faintly. Among other places. And just like that, the range shrank, didn't it, the noise fading, the air thickening around lane 7. Even the jokers behind them quieted, sensing Jared's shift, his reverence. Did you ever train with the SEALs? Jared asked, voice steady but eyes wide. Martin's lips twitched, the tiniest smile. We all did a little of everything back then. You swam, you survived, or you didn't. Jared grinned, couldn't help it. Sir, my CO told us about an op in 71, deep jungle recovery. The guy who led the exfil was wounded but carried 2 men out under fire. Classified for years. Martin didn't flinch. A lot of things were classified for years. Boom, the door shut again, soft but firm, leaving Jared, and us, with stories untold, heavy as lead. Martin stood, stretched with a wince, age or memory, and zipped his bag. Jared stepped aside, instinct kicking in. Others watched now, hushed. As Martin turned to leave, Jared snapped to attention, pure respect. Martin paused, looked back. "Sir, thank you for your service." "Truly," Jared said, voice ringing clear. Martin studied him, then stepped close and pressed something into Jared's hand, a coin, heavy, real, first recon on one side, still here, on the other. He leaned in, voice a growl, "You'll know when it's your time to go quiet. Until then, earn it." And then he was gone, vanishing into the sun, leaving a silence that roared. Martin slipped away before anyone could blink, no goodbye, just his bag and thermos under his arm, fading into the morning like a ghost. Jared stood there, coin in hand, heart racing. Had he just touched history? That coin wasn't some trinket, it was a relic, proof of a life forged in fire. His friends crowded around, bravado gone, replaced by awe. They'd all felt it, they'd stood with a legend. So next time you see an old man at the range, quiet and steady, look closer, really look. You might just be next to a hero, his story etched in silence and ink. "Yo, Jared," one of his buddies shouted from a few lanes down, his voice cutting through the sharp cracks of gunfire. "You good, man?" Jared didn't answer right away, how could he? His mind was spinning, heart pounding from the weight of what he'd just witnessed. Slowly, he turned, his boots dragging against the gritty floor, and walked toward them, the coin trembling slightly in his outstretched hand. His friends crowded in, their faces lit with the usual expectation of a snarky quip or a laugh. But then they saw it, the insignia glaring back at them, recon, old school, Vietnam era. What happened next? The air itself seemed to freeze. They went quiet. Dead quiet. A silence so thick it swallowed every sound, every breath. Petty, the group's resident loudmouth, broke the stillness with a shaky whisper. "No way that's real, dude. No way." Jared nodded, his throat tight, his voice barely above a murmur. "It is. It's real." Another guy, brows knitting in confusion, leaned closer. "Wait, who gave it to you?" "Who?" Jared's gaze drifted back to the empty lane where Martin had stood just moments ago, a figure they'd all dismissed. "The man you all ignored," he said, his words sharp with regret. "The one you laughed at when he shuffled in. That was Staff Sergeant Thomas Martin." Their faces fell. Jaws slackened, eyes widened, disbelief crashing over them like a tidal wave. No one dared respond. They didn't need to. The silence screamed louder than any apology ever could, heavy with guilt and a dawning respect they hadn't known they owed. Jared turned away, the coin still clutched in his hand like a sacred relic, its edges pressing into his palm as he marched back to the front desk. The clerk was slouched there, sipping coffee, scrolling his phone with that lazy, couldn't-care-less grin. He barely glanced up. "Everything all right, kid?" Jared set the coin down on the counter with a reverence that made the clerk blink. "You know this man?" he asked, his voice taut with urgency. The clerk squinted at it, then shrugged. "That the old guy from Lane 7? "Yeah, sure." Jared's pulse quickened. "Name's Martin." "What's his first name?" "Tell me." The guy swiveled to his screen, tapping keys with maddening nonchalance. "Let's see. T. Martin. Signed up almost 10 years ago. Never missed a payment, can you believe that? No credit card, just cash. No email either. Old school all the way." He paused, his eyes catching something odd. "Whoa. Check this out," he marked "Do not publish name for recognition events or honors." "That's rare, man." Jared leaned in, his heart hammering against his ribs. "Do you know why? Why would he do that?" The clerk just shrugged again, oblivious to the storm brewing in Jared's chest. "Nah, no clue. Only thing he ever said to me was once when I thanked him for his service. He stared me down, dead in the eye, and said, "I didn't do it for you to thank me." Freaked me out a little. He chuckled nervously, like it was just some quirky anecdote. I didn't bring it up again. Jared didn't laugh. Couldn't. Those words hit him like a sledgehammer, echoing in his skull, each syllable sinking deeper. He stared at the coin, its weight suddenly unbearable, and without another word, he stumbled out of the building, the cool air slapping his face but doing nothing to quiet the chaos inside. That night, sleep was a lost cause. He tossed, turned, wrestled with the sheets, Martin's face, his quiet strength, haunting him. Around midnight, he gave up. Enough, he muttered, dragging himself to his laptop. He had to know. Who was this man really? He dove into declassified archives, fingers flying across the keys, eyes burning from the glare but refusing to blink. Hours bled away, names redacted, dates scrambled on purpose, but he kept digging, driven by a hunger he couldn't name. And then, there it was. Buried in a dusty MACVSOG log from 1971, one line stared back at him, stark and unadorned, S/SGT Thomas Martin, 1st Recon, Laos, March 6, extraction under fire, recovered 7, refused medevac, wounded twice, declined award recommendation, buried note, asset considered irreplaceable, now silent. Jared's breath snagged in his throat. Silent. That word slammed into him, a gut punch of truth. Back then, those missions were shadows, silent, unspoken. No books, no tweets, no glory. Just the weight of it all, carried quietly forever. And Martin? He'd hauled that burden all the way to that rickety plastic bench at the range, through decades of being just another old guy in a flannel shirt. But now, oh, now, Jared knew. And so did they all. The next time Martin rolled up to the range, everything shifted. The following week, he arrived like clockwork, same beat-up truck, same early hour, same soft crunch of boots on gravel. He nodded to the clerk, scribbled his name on the clipboard with that familiar scrawl, and headed to lane 7. His range bag dangled from his hand, half-zipped, that lone pistol peeking out. Same box of 30 rounds, same battered thermos tucked under his arm. But this time, the air crackled with something electric, something alive. Jared was there, early, wide awake, heart racing. And not alone. 3 of his teammates had dragged themselves out before sunrise, hovering near the back bench, waiting. They didn't dare speak as Martin passed, didn't dare break the spell. They just stood taller, offered a crisp nod, and watched him with eyes that screamed reverence. How could they not? Martin set up like always, pinning his target, adjusting his stance with that steady, unshakable precision. But he felt it, the shift. Not the gunfire, that still popped around them, but the quiet awe rippling through the range. Less chatter, less bravado, more respect in the way lanes cleared, more care in the way mags were loaded. Halfway through his second string of fire, Jared stepped up, not with his usual swagger, but with a composure that made the air hum. He waited, patient as stone, until Martin finished his group, then held out a fresh, sealed box of .45 caliber ammo. Martin's eyes flicked to it, then to Jared, a question flickering there, unspoken. Jared's voice was low, steady, reverent. I figured 30 wasn't enough today. Not for you. For the first time, Martin's nod lingered, a slow, deliberate dip of his head that felt like a gift. He took the box, reloaded with that same calm grace, and kept firing. Not a word, just the soft, rhythmic pop-pop-pop of a man who'd mastered his craft through hell and back. Later, as the gunpowder haze thinned and the brass glittered on the ground like fallen stars, Martin perched on the edge of the wooden bench, sipping from his thermos. One by one, the younger guys drifted by, not a mob, not a show, but quiet, personal moments. A nod, a firm handshake, a hushed, sir. Raw, real, unscripted. Petty, the joker who'd mocked him just a week ago, hung back, shifting on his feet. He cleared his throat, voice cracking. "We looked you up, some of us. I mean, God, you saved a lot of people." Martin wiped the thermos rim with his sleeve, his tone soft but unyielding. "They saved each other." Hetty blinked, mouth opening, then shutting fast. He nodded, turned, and walked off, a little humbler, a little wiser. Jared stayed last. He eased onto the bench beside Martin, both of them staring downrange at the fading targets, the silence wrapping around them like a blanket. Minutes ticked by before Jared spoke, tentative but earnest. "You ever think about teaching? Passing it on?" Martin exhaled, a faint cloud in the crisp air. "I spent 30 years trying to forget everything I teach. But some of us need to remember it. Don't we?" Jared pressed, his voice trembling with conviction. Martin didn't answer right away. He sipped again, the sky deepening to a richer blue, sunlight dancing on the dust motes. Finally, he turned just a fraction, his voice a low murmur. "You don't teach this. You absorb it. Quietly, over time." Jared nodded, soaking it in. "That's why I'm still listening, why I can't stop." Martin met his gaze then, really looked at him, and for a heartbeat, something flickered there, recognition, maybe, or a spark of pride. Then he stood, slow and deliberate. "Then don't talk so much." They both chuckled, a quiet, shared warmth cutting through the weight of it all. Martin left the fresh ammo box untouched on the bench, a silent thank you louder than words. That afternoon, the range staff did something incredible. A small brass plate, no bigger than a business card, appeared above Lane 7, screwed tight into the wood. No hero, no legend, not even recon, just, Lane reserved until he says otherwise. Martin never asked who put it there, never demanded it come down. It just was, a quiet nod to a man who'd earned it 1,000 times over. Some men teach with speeches, others with their very existence. Martin never spun war tales, never barked orders, never begged for thanks. He showed up, fired 30 perfect shots, and left a mark deeper than any sermon ever could. He didn't need to prove a damn thing, not to the range, not to the wide-eyed kids beside him, not even to a world that forgot to ask. But when one of them, Jared, finally peered past the weathered flannel and dared to wonder, the silence shattered, and the truth roared free. That's the magic of real warriors, isn't it? They don't shout their valor from the rooftops. They wait, patient, steady, until someone's wise enough to notice the way they carry themselves, the way they stand tall without trying, the way they command respect without a single demand. Martin didn't need a memoir or a medal. All he needed was that one recruit who saw the hero beneath the surface and asked, "Who are you, really?" From then on, every shot he fired was a lesson, quiet, powerful, unforgettable. Have you ever met someone who carried the weight of history in their silence? Someone like Martin, whose quiet presence spoke volumes about their past sacrifices. In a world where social media and self-promotion often overshadow genuine acts of courage, Martin's story hits me hard. It's a raw, poignant reminder of what heroism truly means. It's not about flashing medals or chasing likes, it's the quiet strength, the resilience forged in service to something bigger than oneself that leaves me in awe. I can't help but feel a pang of frustration at how we've lost sight of this. Today, it's all noise, younger generations, like those brash recruits, drowning in bravado while Martin's steady focus cuts through the clamor. His humility isn't weakness, it's a thunderous lesson we're too distracted to hear. We're so busy shouting our worth that we miss the power in stillness, the dignity in restraint. And yet, there's hope in this story, hope that stings my eyes and tightens my chest. I once met a veteran like Martin, his heroism buried until a fleeting chat unearthed it. That moment shook me, it made me realize how many silent warriors we overlook. In an age of hashtags and hollow soundbites, these stories demand we pause, listen, and feel the depth of human sacrifice. They're not just tales, they're a call to honor the unspoken, to enrich our souls by cherishing the real. So, let's stop scrolling and start seeing. A simple, thank you, a shared story, these small acts can keep their sacrifices alive. Because if we don't, who will? Martin's quiet courage deserves to echo, not fade. Thank you for watching, for standing with us. If these stories hit you hard, if they matter, then please. Red circle subscribe and smack that notification bell so you never miss a heartbeat of this journey. Join us in honoring the silent sacrifices that shaped us all. Together, we can keep their legacies alive, louder than ever.